Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. You won't believe the show we have for you today. You think it's going to be all about cannabis because cannabis is rock and rolling? No, you'd be wrong. We're going to start with mining because then we're going to go to cannabis. And the reason we're going to start with mining is because my good friend John Anderson, who is executive chairman of Triumph Gold Corporation, trading on the TSX venture under the symbol TIG, has graced us with his presence at short notice. So, John, thanks for coming.
Great. Thanks for having me, James. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. It's been a while.
Professionally, too.
Yeah, exactly. Triumph Gold has had a long and storied history. However, not under the name Triumph Gold. It used to be called Northern Free Gold. I followed it, and I made some money, but I lost more than I made. So ultimately, it was a painful experience for me. And then, lo and behold, here it is, almost a decade later. You read it, and it's now, how much did you roll it back?
It was rolled back 10 for 1 before I took control of it.
Wow, so it's now trading at 50 cents, so compared to the old days, that would be $5.
I'm almost break even for my first purchase. So.
And your press releases suggest you've taken a different tack, and you're not actually drilling the old deposit, you're drilling some new targets.
Yeah, correct. So back in 2015 when we reorganized the company and took it over, what the company had, it was a very substantial low-grade resource. Mm-hmm. We've experienced that before. So the project had a very large near-surface resource that we knew at $1,500, $1,600 would be worth a lot more than what the trading the value of the company was at. Mm-hmm. So we took a long-term approach and said, let's get control of the asset. It doesn't have any payments. It had very little debt on the company. We cleaned up the debt and looked at it. So when gold actually started to come back again into where I think it's going, the project was going to have a lot of value. Mm-hmm. And we really cut the burn rate down to almost nothing. And really we were going to sit there, and we would probably be sitting there today in that same situation if it hadn't been for Gold Corp showing up in the Yukon and giving the whole region a credibility bump.
Right, and so we're talking the Yukon here, which is where there's been several major discoveries over the last decade. Mm-hmm. So then how, you've got drilling underway right now?
Yes, correct. So just about a year and a half ago, Gold Corp came in, bought 20% of the company at a premium to the value of what the company was trading at that time. Mm-hmm. And they gave us $6.5 million to do 15,000 meters. So we ended up doing that close to 15,000 meters last year. And it was based not on going after the old resource or upgrading the resource. It was based on our Vice President of Exploration, Tony Baresi, came up with new geological concepts on the property well outside that resource. And it was, again, not trying to look at a $1,500, $1,600 gold project, something that was relevant right now. Mm-hmm. So we spent Gold Corp's money, half of Gold Corp's money, still had $3 million when we finished the program, and tested 5 of Tony's ideas, and really excited by what he came up with last year.
Right, so you put out one hole on the 31st of July, 72 meters, 1.3 grams per ton. Now, this being, or then particularly being, the absolute bear market, we don't care if you drill through Fort Knox, we're not buying the stock. That in normal times would send the stock on a serious value appreciation curve.
Yeah, again, exploration, as you know, it's a process. Right. And last year's process, what Tony developed was come up with these ideas, test these ideas, and we successfully hit on 4 of his 5 ideas. The one that didn't work out, we'll joke about it afterwards with Tony, but they were really successful. But they weren't things that rocked the market. Things in the Yukon were a little difficult last year. It took forever to get assays back. Our stock had gone up to 57, 58 cents Canadian during that period. And unfortunately, it took a couple months to get the assays back. However, when we had those assays, we knew we were onto something, but they weren't something that was going to rock the market like the recent results of Golden Ridge or the SIC or anything that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. But it was a process, and Tony knew we had something, and so this year's program was vector in off of that success from last year and try to target exploration, results for this year.
Sure. So you're going to have results coming out from this year's drill program at some point in the near future?
Yeah, correct. We started in early April, did a winter program. It was a little slow just because as we were having global freezing over on the East Coast, we were actually having an early thaw up in the Yukon. So drilling was a little slow off the start, but we came up with the first results for just just about 25% of what our exploration program was for this year.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you're referring to. Mm-hmm. We've still got 2/3 of the results to come out, and I think it's about 73, 74 holes that we're drilling this year. Wow. On 6 different targets.
Okay, so there's good gold values, good copper values. This is looking like a porphyry, I guess.
The WOW breccia is what we're calling it. That's this discovery that you're referring to. It's
we met over a breccia, as I recall.
That's right. The 12-ounce ones.
Right.
But the WOW breccia is outside the resource, and it was again based on Tony's theory, and we plugged a couple holes in it this year, and it was really successful. And it came down to Tony's theory that all the ages of mineralization we had on the property, you had something that superimposed the original aged rock of 140 million years. I won't want to, bore a lot of the neophytes in this, but you had a mineralized event that happened 60 million years ago that created the fracture of that breccia, and that's where somewhat you would see a lot of the high-grade gold come through. And so that's what the WOW breccia, W-A-U breccia is about. Okay, so then
the holes that are going to be released in due course here are from that WOW breccia zone, or is this from?
No, it's going to be from different areas.
Okay.
So we finished the WOW breccia. We also finished the Kirsten zone, which was a very large step out last year, and it was a successful technically. We announced the results from Kirsten of this year. They weren't anything spectacular, but again, it's just like last year's drilling. We had technical success, we didn't have grade success. So we'll evaluate those properties, those results from Kirsten and try to vector in.
So when you say technical success, you mean you've found the structures where you theorized they would be, but you just didn't hit the high grade portion of that structure?
Correct, and we didn't hit a lot of great mineralized rock. Well, we had mineralized rock, but there was not a lot of ore grade material in it. So what we're focusing on for the rest of the program is, again, Tony's success last year is focusing in on those technical successes and vectoring in and try to figure out where the source for this is, and that's what we're working on right now.
Okay, so now the resource that was developed throughout the 2000s, that resource is completely set aside for now, pending higher gold price to make it more interesting?
Yeah, so that resource was done. It was formerly with a PEA that was attached back in 2012, 2013.
And what were the metrics there again?
That was done at 1260 gold and, 265 copper and 1260 gold. And it was positive, but again, we're scratching the surface for this exploration property.
What was the size of it?
I was 88 million tons. From the nucleus and the revenue deposit. Again, we know that's there, and that's a great call option on higher gold and,
that's
copper
the point
prices.
I'm trying to make.
So
you've already got one
we
deposit.
Got that. So we'll call that's in our back pocket.
Right.
So we know at a higher gold price, higher copper price, these things will be valid again. And again, we were going to sit there and do nothing, and it wasn't until Gold Corp showed up and bought Kaminak up the street from us before we decided to go back and do some exploration on the project. And so in 2016, what we did is we hired Tony independently. He didn't work for us. And Tony is a specialist in Western Cordillera porphyry systems and economic geology, and told us what is the potential outside of that resource. And so he spent 4 weeks on the property and worked afterwards and came back and said, there's gold everywhere. You've got a lot of placer operations on the project that are running successfully to this date. You've got high-grade skarns, you've got epithermal veins, you've got mesothermal, you've got a polymetallic deposit, which is very much like Rock Haven's deposit to the south. And literally everywhere you go, there's gold. And to stress the magnitude of what the project is, it's not just a big land staking package. It was strategically put together by the original prospector, Bill Harris, who you've met, and his wife, Sue Craig, at the bottom of the market in 2003. And they put together this property. And the real reason they put it together was not just the historical work that was done on it, but it was one of the only properties in the Yukon that had, at that time, government access, government infrastructure access, not only to the property, but right through the property. So it's one of those rare properties in a remote area that's actually blessed with great infrastructure.
Wow.
And so that's why we were able to be so, cost efficient last year in our exploration program.
Sure. So from an investment speculative perspective, the catalysts in the near term are lots of drill results coming from the lab.
Yeah, we've drilled 72, 73 holes this year, 18,000 meters. We did 13,000 meters last year. We've got 50,000 meters of historical data that Northern Free Gold / now Triumph Gold has, let alone all the old data that was put together, through 80 years and different owners. So
awesome.
It's pretty exciting.
Okay, John, well, we're going to keep an eye on it. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, great. Thanks for having me, and it's really good to see you again.
You too.
Okay.
Up next, finally, it's all about cannabis. Planet 13 Holdings is our guest. Stay tuned for that. Ta-da-dum. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment, coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, is Robert Grossbeck. He is the CEO of Planet 13 Holdings, trading on the TSE under the symbol PLTH. Robert, welcome to our humble show.
Thanks, James. It's great to be with you.
So, Robert, let's start with an overview. What does Planet 13 Holdings actually do?
Well, we're a vertically integrated marijuana company in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mm-hmm. And we're in the midst of building the largest dispensary on planet Earth. And I'm actually calling in from our construction site.
Wow.
And we're really excited with the progress that we're making to get this thing open and open.
Okay, so when you say largest cannabis dispensary, how many square feet is it?
Well, our first phase that we're opening in November will be 40,000 square feet. Of that, about 16,200 square feet will be devoted to the retail operation. So we've got a bunch of corporate offices that will be built out, and then we're transitioning into the second phase, which should follow right about year's end.
Okay, excellent. And so, what's the where do you source your products, and how many different products do you have there?
Well, on any given day, our current store, we can carry 60 to 70 different SKUs. We probably have 12 to 15 outside vendors that are constantly putting product into the store, in addition to our own product lines that we grow and produce in-house.
Wow, that's impressive. And so the business model of Planet 13 then is to focus on developing these superstores, for want of a better word?
Well, yeah, James, that's a great question. This will be our flagship operation. We have 112,000 feet here that we're going to build out. This is more than just a retail store. This is a cannabis entertainment complex. Huh. So really our focus is to set something, to put something in place that's entirely new in the industry. No one's ever seen anything like this.
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like this for sure. So when you say cannabis entertainment complex, what other aspects besides buying of cannabis products is involved in that?
Well, obviously the first phase is going to include a number of interactive opportunities for our customers. The whole idea is to bring you into the space and keep you here. This is an attraction just like you would see on Las Vegas Boulevard. Huh. The hotels, some have volcanoes, others have roller coasters, Ferris wheels, whatever the case may be. Our goal here, of course, is to carry that entertainment component over to the marijuana side of the business. We really want our customers to come in here, have a great time, experience everything that we have to offer. And I'll give you some examples. We have a flying orb show that will show hourly in the ceiling, and it's a technology out of Germany. It's the first of its type in the world used in a commercial application. We have a giant interactive floor, much like a giant iPad that was manufactured for us in England. And we have a laser graffiti wall that will be the first of its type, permanently staged and based here at our facility in Las Vegas. And basically what it will allow is customers to graffiti up their space, for lack of a better term, and do it through laser technology. It'll look just like they're spray painting it on a canvas.
Interesting.
Yeah, the whole idea is to get them to come here and experience the complex and have fun.
Wow. So are the laws in Nevada such that you can open a place to the public like this, and can your customers come in, buy products, and actually enjoy them on the premises while experiencing this sort of multimedia extravaganza?
Well, that's actually an excellent point. Right now, our tourist customers have the ability to buy the product. They just don't have the ability to legally use it anywhere in the Strip corridor. We're working with local governments here now to try to create a regulatory framework that allows customers to not only buy, but to use products in the entertainment complex. So we're designing an ultra lounge now as we speak, but there's not a legal mechanism at this point to allow us to do that. So in the short term, no, but our goal here is, in the next several quarters to get legislation in place that will allow customers to not only buy, but actually use on site.
Yeah, well, I've noticed the whole evolution of cannabis is all about the companies that have the foresight to be built out and ready for regulations that are yet to come. So I congratulate you on that. Sounds like a really interesting concept. Do you plan to expand this outside of Las Vegas?
We do. In fact, we're looking in other jurisdictions now. The facilities will, of course, all be branded under a Planet 13 name. They won't be as large, or certainly to this scale. Again, the superstore will be our flagship operation. But we'll have similar concepts and themes in our stores in other jurisdictions.
40,000 square feet, that's huge. So, I mean, it's not a case where you're just going to fill up corners of the store with vast arrays of single products. You're actually probably, I'm assuming, going to have a vast array of products in a huge variety of demonstrated sort of environments?
Oh, absolutely. The whole idea, of course, is to give our customers a wide spectrum of products to choose from. Again, we partner with top vendors in the industry. We want to give our customers that experience, and whether that be through an edible, a vape, traditional flower, concentrates, the whole idea is to give them the opportunity to buy what they're looking for. And again, with the facility this large, we're going to move through a lot of product. And it's important that our customers, have a great experience, and that's why we only partner with top-tier producers and cultivators. Okay,
so obviously you make money on the margin between retailing, the retail price of cannabis products and the wholesale price at which you buy them, but the whole idea of a entertainment complex, I'm assuming, has other revenue-generating components to it.
It does. Now, the technology that I mentioned a moment ago to you, that is basically all free. The graffiti experience, of course, will be free if customers buy a minimum purchase in the facility. Otherwise, there will be a pay component. As we move into the ultra lounges, that side of the house, that will be a revenue generating opportunity as well. It'll be a pay to play. Like a traditional club in Las Vegas is. Okay, so is it conceivable that you will have slot machines and roulette and all that stuff? No. That I'm reasonably certain will not happen.
Right.
There won't be any gaming overlay to this. Again, this will be complementary to the gaming experience. Customers come into town, they recreate, want to have a great time, but when they want to, leave the property for a bit. This is, very close to the heart of the strip, so customers can walk or ride share over here, and again, experience the amenities that we're going to offer. There will be other uses, as I mentioned before. Soon as we open in November, we'll be building out our coffee store, our coffee shop. It'll be a traditional coffee shop. We're looking at several other phased opportunities here that will follow very shortly. I'm not in a position to announce those just yet, but
right.
I want your viewers to stay tuned because we have a couple of very exciting projects we hope to announce to the market here very soon.
Sounds great. Okay, Robert, well, that's it. That's a very interesting introduction to this company, and it's the first I've heard of it, so I'm really intrigued by this. We're going to come back to you in a quarter's time and see how things are developing. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks, James. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
Cheers.
Wasn't it great seeing John Anderson?
I know, I've known this character for probably 15, 20, maybe longer than 20 years.
That's how long I've known him for.
Yeah, no, his sister worked in London, Ontario.
I grew up a mile and a half down the road from him.
A CA, I'm a CA.
CA?
Charter
Secret
accountant.
agent?
CA, can't add. That's what the inside joke was. Ed Milewski, CA, can't add. Anyway.
Can't add. that's not a good feature for an accountant.
Look, we've got major action in the marijuana space today. Major. And you were talking about the overextended on using my new metric, the RSI, and you said, look, we should be buying this. And you did.
Well, turns out you were right.
Well, look, we should have a session sometime and just say, you know,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. I guess we do have a session sometime.
We're having a session right now. We have a session for the next hour. We're in session. Welcome to the session, everybody. Today on our show, we've got some really interesting guests. We've got Justin Marshall here, the live correspondent, is here from another.
That's it. I want a ration
from California. That's coming up a little later on. We have we don't have a lot of pre-records today, so there's just going to be a lot of Ed James, James, Ed James. Technical analysis, I think they call it. Technical, fundamental, fundamentally, technically crazy. Insanity. No, we're not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. No punk rock in your repertoire, Ed? Anyways, so yeah, Triumph Gold. There's another one. There's another gold discovery in progress.
in the Yukon.
I know. You know the great thing about that project is it's already been a success story twice.
Well, and I believe with you, when a major is already sort of a partner.
Well, and Gold Corp at that. Gold Corp is already brought.
Is Gold Corp big?
Oh, is Gold Corp not the? I guess
the big
third largest. No, I think they're bigger now than Newmont. I'm not entirely sure.
They're up there, and. Yeah, and the article that our friend Steve Dunn sent me about the short position now, the speculative short position that exists in the futures markets. I sent you the article. I want you to read it.
I read it.
I
read it.
Maybe read it again. You're not asking me any questions.
Well, it's because I can't get a word in sideways here. If you just shut up for a second.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Boy, this is not a show. This is a talking competition.
This is competition.
It's a talking competition. You go, I go, you go, you go, I go, I go, you go. No.
I heard the funniest joke on the weekend.
Here we go.
The funniest joke.
Let's cut straight to something serious, why don't we?
When you have a moment. And
Mind if I just threw that off?
Jesus.
What do you think this is? Is that a waste paper basket?
I was going to go out and wash your car. I was going to go wash your car. So this is right up there all time. But don't we got business to do?
Yeah.
I think we should do some charts and then tell the joke later. At the end, tell the joke later.
You're gonna leave everybody hanging.
What do you want me to do?
Well, I think you should tell the joke. Okay. You got everybody warmed up, including myself.
So there's a French cat and an English cat that are they're going to have a race. The English cat's name is 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And the French cat is 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
So they go for their big race, and there's all kinds of people and cats and everything watching, and the British cat wins handily. Why is that? Well, the reason is simple. The French cat, 1, 2, 3, cat sank. 1, 2, 3, cat sank. The 1, 2, 3, cat sank.
Got it. Was that like a child made that up or something?
That's a friend of mine told that.
That's kind of funny.
At my golf club.
That's kind of cute. That's a cute joke.
It's a cute joke. It's PG.
It's very PG.
And maybe not for this audience.
I don't know. I don't see anybody. I don't hear anybody complaining.
Okay.
The Twat Cat.
So, love it. But lots of action.
Look at our indices.
Look at Corona's here.
Look at our indexes. Looking at our indexes.
Indices.
What?
NDI.
What's up? I got mine on. Anyways, dun, dun,
look at this.
Dun,
These are monster moves today. And if you didn't cover last Thursday or Friday,
Are you on GFM?
No, I'm on Global Financial Network. Look at that. There we go.
So,
hot damn, wrong network. Hot damn, summer in the city. Back my neck, pretty. Hot damn, sorry, musical interlude.
So I wanted to say that if you didn't cover, remember we were talking about if you were short and you didn't cover.
Yes.
Today you have even more interest to cover. So that's added buying power. And that's
in the cannabis space.
Absolutely. Because if you're short and this thing starts running away from you, you're thinking to yourself, what happens if I'm short? You could have covered at, say, 525, 530 on ACB. Now it's $2 higher.
10% up on the major index.
Oh yeah, well look at this.
Let's go look at all the. Let's go look at the biggies here. The big cannabis companies, of course, the whole sector is being led higher by
9%.
Canopy Growth Corporation.
Aurora Cannabis up 15. Look at that. Chronos.
I know. Look at that, 15%. I had to sell my Aurora Cannabis today because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to buy it back again sooner.
Well, but you know what? Maybe if you start to overtrade, I'll tell you, one of the big problem with trading is that if you overtrade, you'll start losing perspective. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I don't overtrade. I just trade. At least that's the way I see it.
Then you're a multi-gazillionaire.
Well, no, not quite. That's why I'm trading. If I was a multi-gazillionaire, why would I bother trading?
Why would I bother, right?
Exactly. I just buy stuff.
And if you've got marijuana stocks that aren't participating in this rally, you might have to ask yourself, why are they not participating? And if they're not participating, maybe they don't have sufficient size.
Yeah.
For in other words, the real good ones are going to move first, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we just saw.
Well, it's a matter of
weeds
perception.
up 50% from the $32 level.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Can't
true.
trust you. Look at this. Anyway, so
Chronos up 12.3% even.
Look at that.
I mean, you know what this is? This is now conviction. This is conviction on the part of the broader market that the cannabis industry ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Or is it just, you know, the big one, weed? But I mean, look, a lot of these others are still a long way away. And if they can't get through into new highs on this run, it also may be a warning sign.
New highs. So is that the key?
Well, I think we're looking, for instance, your index is almost at a new high. So if it can't and falters, then it looks bearish.
New high. Always wanted a new high. Oh, let's look at my email briefly. This is clearly my junk mail. I've got to log into this system here and steal the signal from the control room briefly because we need to talk about these stocks on our Quote Media Pro platform, which gives us an incredible ability to analyze the Canadian Cannabis Index. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, where's the chart? Is this the chart? This is not the chart. What the hell is that? What's going on? Who's on first? Okay, I have the charts here. There we go. Let's see. Let's pull up a chart, Zed. So, wait, we want to float this. Pop-up module. Okay, here we go.
Now what? Encore Energy. Look at this thing flying.
Yes, I don't know why that's there. It's probably because I was half through typing. Let's start with ACB. And now I'm going to pull out the Bollinger Bands just because they cause a little bit too much.
Well,
too much confusion.
One of my favorite technical indicators. Just saying. So let's get rid of that one because it's only Ed likes it. No. It's not necessary.
I'll put it.
What?
I'll put it back in 1 second. But just for clarity, you can't see clearly what is going on.
I just want to say I can see for miles and miles.
I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles.
What did I just start here?
Okay.
Okay.
Look at now the RSI on Aurora's up to 56.
Yeah. Now it went from extremely oversold to now slightly in the middle of the road. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm really interested in seeing what's the RSI on the weed.
On the weed.
Because the weed's up 50%. This thing's only up about 35 or 40%.
There's the weed, and the RSI is at 71.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's getting up there, and it'd be interesting to see if I'll tell you right now, I'm at I look at this chart and I see this, we're above that high. We did it back here and then violently sold off, and then the big takeover, or not the takeover, but the relationship with
it was a takeover.
Constellation Brands. Sure it was. In effect.
But
now we're back. Look at this. Look at this. Does that say 49.03?
That's where it traded today.
That's a new high.
Yeah,
I think that's a fresh.
That is a fresh high.
And so what does that mean?
That means it's going higher?
You know what? We're in a tricky area right here, but yeah, maybe.
If it stays.
And if that goes higher, keep your eye on the RSI. The volume's certainly there. If this starts moving into 49.5, 50, I would think it's going to pull up the others, the ones that are lagging. And for instance, Well, we know why ACB is half of what it was because they made that major acquisition.
Right.
Yeah. But Afria is nowhere near its high, is it?
Afria's
APH?
no. Afria was up at 20. It's half its high. Let's go look at APH.
Yeah.
APH. So there's the big high for Afria is back on January 9th,
Wow.
2018, 2289.
Wow. And
So
look at this thing. Now this is more like a ACB kind of chart.
Yeah.
But this thing, look at these moves. Look at that. Now if you're short down in here, you're probably going, "Oh, I'm making so much money." And then surprise, you should have covered. Yeah.
Well, they might have.
You don't get a lot of, sometimes you don't get chances here. I don't think, just as we saw a short cover rally, there's going to be a sell-off at some point when everybody's bullish again. It always it's about sentiment. When the sentiment is, what do they say? By the sounds of cannons, lots of cannons down here.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to hear some trumpets.
Yeah.
And now we know, you have to sort of be contrarian.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, we're just talking about philosophy here.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
It's enlightening.
It's very enlightening.
Epiphanous.
Epiphanous.
Is that a word?
This is a pulchritudinous chart.
Beautiful. if you read it right, yeah.
Yeah. All
I
right.
really liked, again, we like this because it bounced off of here sharply. It's sort of doing the same thing. I just, I like to see some follow through, and I got a funny feeling it's going to have trouble from here. I got to have this is a hunch. Hunch.
Just a hunch.
The hunchback of Notre Dame.
Well, that's interesting.
Okay, so look at it. ACB's up over $1. That's
Yeah.
15%, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's so.
Now you were smart enough to follow some of our own advice here.
If you pay for good advice, you don't want to make the mistake of not taking it.
You made a nice little nifty little profit there, didn't you?
I did okay for a quick trade. Yeah, I did okay for a quick trade. Now, while we're on the subject of some of our advice, let's take a look at so GLDN.
Okay.
Now this is going to take us back to the conversation about relative strength.
Relative strength.
So relative strength touched 84 on Friday, and what happens? Boom!
And then it even got a little more extended because the stock even went a little higher. But I mean, you know what? I was talking to, I guess I could say I was talking to Blady this morning, the CEO, and I said, that a correction has to come.
Yeah.
Has to come. You just don't know when.
Yeah.
Now, I sold a little bit of my position this morning, not at just over 45 cents. Okay, just saying. And then I already replaced it back at 39.5. Now, that's the trader. That's I love trading, but it's fraught with peril.
With peril.
It is.
Just like the rest of our lives.
Well, that's a blast off right there, there. Now though we have so that's taken the RSI from RSI from 86 to down to 73.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong here because this trend is still intact, right? There's a trend there, very tight trend. It may have another down day tomorrow, but we know the cores. The rumors are the cores look identical, and we're going to get results probably within a week. So, if you sold it and it kept going, you'd say, "Why in the hell did I do that?"
Right.
But if you didn't sell it and it went down, you say, "Why didn't I sell it?"
Right.
You can always say something against what you did.
So as a retail investor sitting here watching us and listening to us, I mean, last week we were all about this thing's going higher, and now it's selling off a bit. So my question as a spectator investor, am I buying this, Ed? Are you buying this?
Yes, I am. I'm buying it, but I've already replaced what I was lucky to sell.
So you made a little profit. Peanuts.
Nickels and dimes.
Nickels and dimes. But nickels and dimes add up to-
but look, if you just thought about it this way, here on this red candle, we hit a new high. It sold off, and the next day marched higher. Now, we hit a new high, sold off. There's no difference psychologically between what happened here, because we didn't know what was going to happen next. And we don't know what's going to happen next after this one. So
we don't have a clue what's going on.
No, but again, we saw it higher. And look, I think there's a very good chance Yeah, I think this is just going to march higher because I think.
Okay, now let's talk about another one where we know there's a drill program underway. TIG, Triumph Gold, that was just in here.
You just
look, it's run all the way up to 56 cents.
Just from being around, just coming in here.
Just because we talk about it on our show. Well, that's what happens. We make stocks go up.
Why didn't I buy it? But why didn't you tell me to buy it before you guys were going to start talking about it? Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Because then I would have been telling you what to do, not what I'm doing. There's the secret.
Look.
Financial advisor? No.
You know what?
Just telling you what I'm doing.
I want to tell you what a good friend of mine said. He's a trader. I'm not going to mention his name until I get permission.
Like a AITOR?
No, he's an ADER,
okay.
and he's been around. He loves the markets. He's a real astute guy. He's telling me that these resource stocks, which appeared to be mired in muck for the longest time, they seem to be loosening up. Like he sent me a little text and he said, the juniors seem to be getting a little more action. It's like, you know what? In other words, good news was out before a couple months ago. Nobody cared, but we're going back into September, so maybe, just maybe.
Well, I'm seeing on the fundamental side. I mean, this is what I'm going to say is that the fundamental look is matching up with the technical, because on the fundamental side, gold is at a period low. Like the low for the year for sure, perhaps a multi-year low. And the short position is building even higher on the gold side to the lower, which always is the precursor to a bump, a rush, a bull market in the gold price. Could be a bounce, could be a run, but that's why, everybody's like, why are you buying gold when gold is touching all-time lows? And it's like, well, because that's the time when it reverses. It can
buying to the sound of cannons. Let's get back to that theme. We want to buy to the sound of cannons. Are there cannons right now in the gold mining districts? Blasting away.
Good point.
I think, but it's encouraging when the stocks start to move. Like, look, we've seen Golden Ridge have a move. Sockman have a move.
Yeah.
ABN had a move. And TIG is having a move. So there's 4 right there.
Yeah. Let's look up the gold futures, see what it's doing right now.
Well, it's up sharply today.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. The technicals are, in fact, aligning with
it was so oversold. In fact, I'd like to read the headline from that thing that Steve Dunn sent me.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Sure.
I got to pick up my phone, which is a no-no.
So,
you're going to watch.
Just to let the audience feel that you're being ignored.
Plastic hand will come out and slap me.
It's actually a hook from behind.
Am I getting hooked, James? Okay. James, say it ain't so. Okay, so let's. I'm going to see what I want to read. I just want to read this because I think it's relevant to where we're at. I wish I could just move a little quicker here. Negative bets against gold surge could be tipping point. Gold speculators most pessimistic in 17 years. Well, if that's not the sounds of cannons, and when do you buy into the sounds of cannons?
Well, that's why I'm buying. In case anybody's wondering, I hear cannons,
it applies to, and you know what? Today someone reached up and bought some Crown Mining, which no one gives a hoot about.
Well,
I think that.
Well, I've got a little bit of that. Just a tiny little dribble drabble.
Yeah.
Justin Marshall has put together another beautiful piece for us from California, and we're going to watch that now. Hope you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Hard as a rock. Perfect. About 2 weeks from harvest. And it smells just like heaven. Well, today we're down here with Brett at Harvest Pacific in the beautiful Salinas Valley, California. This is quite an impressive facility. Well, you've been at this for quite some time and you're clearly successful. This is everything you grow is a kush. And so you stick with what people want. There's a high demand for this and you just grow what the people want. That's a brilliant philosophy. I see a lot of other people out there, they grow, they have perpetual harvest, but they're a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So you're able to control the environment that's specific for the kush. The kush is happy here, clearly. And What is the size of this facility here?
It's approximately 68,000 square feet.
68,000, and then you have a few other facilities on site that are about equally in size?
Sure.
Great. So this is one of the better counties in California to be growing in. They're very friendly for large-scale operations such as yourself. And as you grow into the future, I know you're going to be doing some of your own branding. As a matter of fact, I've gone into dispensaries here in California and I've picked up your Platinum OG AU Gold cartridges, and I found them to be better than anything else out there. And I found out today you make these. Well, these are the best. So let me ask you this. When you're making these cartridges, you're making them out of these buds and you're only using bud?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, that's why they're the best.
Yeah.
Nice. That makes sense.
So we're separating the crops from A to B, and initially it's just kind of a chop that you take the top, and this makes production faster because the trimmers can get through material that's better, and that bottom we just filter, and that's basically a lot of the job that we have to do is filter, separate, and sort, and always just keep consistency. What we're going after is just consistency.
Nice.
Because that's what the market is. We figure it's just like beer, soda pop, bread, anything you buy day to day. If it was different any other time that you bought it, you wouldn't buy that product. So that's kind of what our goal is just to go after consistency.
Well, then let me ask you this. You've already built your Gold AU brand up to be one of the most popular and desired brands on the market, yet you're starting a new brand. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Just branding wars, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of different labels out there. And, we're just trying to start. We got with a new designer, Kevin Newman. He did a lot of brands from like Marlboro, Budweiser, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bacardi. And he just kind of showed us some new things and drew out this new brand from a name that our partner David Wallace came up with, and it was just went from there. And the brand name is California Canna.
California Canna. Yeah. So that's the one to watch for.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Interesting.
We look to launch that real soon here.
Good. Well, we're certainly looking forward to that. Now it's interesting that you're also self-funded up until this point. So you're not really looking for outside investors at this point, but you would entertain, working with other, maybe selling some of your product as a white label or selling your brand.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do, is to sell white label product and just be consistent in doing it. We want to be that hub that distributors can come and outsource wholesale product that will always be available throughout the year.
Wow. So what's your, what are you harvesting here annually, roughly?
Roughly, I would say 300 to 400 pounds a week.
340 pounds a week,
Yep.
Add that up, and you're harvesting every week, and it's constantly cush, it's constantly moving.
Yes.
This is a very popular product here.
Yeah, and we look to like double that really soon here, but that's kind of where we're at right now, and that's like a safe number to say, finished, done every week.
Wow. So on your property, you're constantly putting up new greenhouses and building, because Monterey County allows stackable licenses, which is very conducive to large-scale cannabis.
Yeah, we're not building, we're more refurbishing. This house was built probably when I was born in the 80s, early 80s, by a company that we're using today. Their son that was, he's been highly involved in, coordinating and helping us out with materials to convert cut flower greenhouses into cannabis cultivation greenhouses, and with small and minimal cost.
Wow.
Some people are putting a lot into it. We had to go at it in a different aspect, and we're originally from Humboldt, so being in the hills, you gotta do what you gotta do with what you got. So
sure.
Coming down here, we did what we had to do with what we had, and with as minimal cost, and we found it really effective. We use techniques that we would use, up in Humboldt would be like string lights and low electricity, low water, soil sustainability, not reusing your soil every time saves a lot of time and a lot of money.
Well, with your highly automated irrigation system here, it must save you a lot of time and be helpful for your bottom line. And also the fact that you are able to use this light deprivation system in here too, that can increase your yield, increase your time to your turnover.
Yeah.
So all your skills that you've picked up throughout your life are really applying well here. I've been a grower all my life too, so I understand how you're using these organic methods, the beneficial nematodes and everything you're doing. That's ingenious, you know, because quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, the customer wants organic cannabis and they want the best cannabis.
Sure.
And if they can get that and they know who to turn to, they'll seek out that brand.
Sure.
So you're quite clearly building one of the better brands in California and you're launching a new one. This is impressive. We look forward to catching up with you here in the very near future and seeing what's going on. Maybe we could take a look at some of your different plants as they're in their various stages. You want to take us on a tour of your facility?
Absolutely.
Let's take a walk. We're standing amongst a beautiful, beautiful amount of OG Kush. Now, OG Kush is one of the most popular strains out there. And the reason is it makes people feel good and they know it. It somehow interacts with our endocannabinoid system in a way that helps us to yet function, get along with each other, be out there in society. It doesn't couch lock you. You can go out and do things and have fun doing it. If I am correct in saying, OG Kush was originally brought over from the Afghanistan region by hippies to the Humboldt region, where it's been growing for the last few decades, and it's now become this. This is state-of-the-art OG Kush. It's at its finest. It would have a THC count of maybe 27?
22 to 27%.
22
I think
to 27?
it's Hypocrisy Genetics that kind of claim the strand. It's a 75-25% mix indica sativa, but I'm not even sure if the 25 is fully sativa. I think it's just got a parent in there that's unknown. It comes from Master Kush, and you know, it's kind of been all over the place from, you know, all throughout the states, southern and northern parts of the region.
Sure. And so OG Kush, for the education of people that didn't know, stands for ocean grown. And
Sure.
since we're growing here this cannabis near the ocean in California,
Sure.
this is your real deal. This is ocean grown Kush.
Sure.
I've never really smelled terpenes quite like this.
That's what it's known for, is just being really robust and having a
just so gassy and so,
gassy,
so powerful.
And a big hit. It's used for stress, pain, anxiety. There's not a lot of CBD in it. It's mainly THC, but we grow it because of the demand. The consumer likes, I think, the aroma and the high of it.
Wow. Let me ask you this. This is a beautiful greenhouse. All your greenhouses are on this property.
Sure.
And I know you have several others you're going to show us. The Systems USA is a world-renowned greenhouse builder, and that's who you have relations with, yes?
Yeah, they have really helped us out, kind of fixing, remodeling, and advising. They're working on a greenhouse right now for us, putting in an automated light depth system, very technical with breathable fabric, blackout fabric, which will prevent. We'll have less mold, but more ventilation.
Great.
And during blackout hours, which is really, really good for yields, obviously.
Speaking of yields, what are your yields? I mean, these buds are huge and they're hard as rocks. I'm sure your yields are higher than most others because of this. And then,
not really. I mean, a lot of people grow even bigger buds. We're not really after the big giant bud because you get a lot of bud rot from that. It's more just like a tighter, consistent. That's basically what we're after, is just consistency, because, if you can't, continuously produce, people aren't going to want, things not being as good good as it always is.
Right. Well, you clearly know what you're doing, and if you're good at doing this, then you stick with what you're good at, and you do,
Yeah.
That's how you're going to win. And consistency, of course. If you could do this every day.
Sure.
And
I think we'd rather have a consistent, smaller bud than a, big, huge bulky bud that has a lot of like salts and nutrients in them that people are putting like accelerators and things like that in it. We're just looking for, I think that the terp really builds with the soil. You know, and so we're kind of like really managing our soil, and it really starts there and what you're putting in the soil.
Tell me about Ocean Grown Horticulture. You're working with them as well?
That's another company me and my partner own. It's a they have nursery and a cultivation license as well, and it's just a separate company that we started aside with Harvest Pacific. And we thought the name Ocean Grown Horticulture was appropriate since we just grow OG.
Right. So as we were talking about earlier, this brand of cartridges, the AU Gold, and you have the Platinum OG in there.
Sure.
This is one of the popular ones on the market, if not the most popular one on the market.
And the fact that we don't add anything, terps or anything, and it's all from actual Platinum OG. It's not like kind of
a blend.
It's not a blend of other trim that people have picked up, and then they're adding a terp profile that fits platinum to make it that platinum flavor. This is what you're tasting, is what you're getting, what's grown here.
The thing I noticed about the taste of these is it doesn't really taste like it has anything added to it, no added terpenes.
There is no added terp.
Right, it's just the straight flavor of the good kush.
Yep.
And that's what I enjoy.
Sure.
Well, you know, I think everyone's really excited to see when your new brand comes out. Tell us more about it.
It's just California Canna.
California Canna. I love the name.
Yeah.
And I know you had someone
we got the slick men's black on gold look and silver, and then a more you know, appropriate, how would we say it, like a Williams Sonoma look, you know, kind of tan wheat color, you know, backgrounds, but it's just basically it looks like a crest with our emblem on it.
Well, I've seen your logo. It's beautiful. And I think as brands are built in the future, and some of the...
And we're looking to make a brand that adults, everyday adults can use and feel like, hey, you know, it's not this flashy purple bang thing, you know, soccer moms, normal guys, 5 to 9 guys, everybody is just working and getting through the days, you know, needs to hit the vape or have a pre-roll, or something even larger, you know, maybe they're going out of town a bit and they need to take a pound with them or something, you know, anything.
Well, something I heard, maybe this is a rumor, but you were offering a program which it was like was it a membership where people can spend $40 a month and get a 3-pack, and they can pick and choose if they want?
I think it's just an idea. I think that more things are going to pop up like this, but I could see definitely the market going to where it's like a membership and a unified system of farms that are collected so that the material is properly sorted and managed, where people can you know, like Bitcoin, trade, you know, even just anything, PayPal, and, you know, they have, you know, access to, you know, this global web-sourced cannabis.
Sure,
you know,
sure. Well, that will be
under
probably
one management, because I think that's the responsible thing to do. And I know that sounds kind of corporate monopoly, but you know, it should be some central hubs of management to provide the consistency. You know, you don't want anybody, you know, cutting corners. You're inhalating this product, and it's going into your bloodstream.
Right.
So you want it well managed.
Well, California is very strict. The guidelines are stringent, and people cannot get away with anything here. So you having first mover advantage here in California, you being on such a massive scale and only getting bigger, this is the way that you're going to win. And I feel that you guys have a very smart game plan. Your brand's good, it's selling, people are seeking it. And then for the medicinal purposes, where people are out there looking for a medicine that they can trust, and they know there's no pesticides or chemicals, because a lot of these brands are disappearing. They're not able to pass the test.
Sure.
And so who's there at the end of the day? And here you guys are, and you're leading the way.
That was the plan from the beginning, was, you know, if we can grow consistent product that can pass, and it's what, you know, everybody wants.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. You know?
Well, as long as you know how to do it right. I mean, a lot of people are out there trying to go cannabis, but they don't have the experience of 30 years in Humboldt like yourself.
I don't have. I'm 37, so I wasn't growing.
Yeah, either way,
no,
you've been growing for a while.
I moved up to Humboldt 8 years ago. My partner's been growing for, I'm sure, 30 years.
Right.
But not me, definitely.
Well, I'm sure there's more than eons of experience between everybody here. You know?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of experience, and you know, going from, indoors down south to big grows up north. You know, it's just learning all the techniques.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the big thing of, you know, just the learning process, how to grow sustainable, mold-free, consistent weed without heavy pesticides and fertilizers.
Right,
That's
right.
kind of the name of the game right now.
Well, there's a lot of, I'm an organic cannabis grower myself, and in my gardens we choose to use beneficial nematodes and similar things to what you're doing here.
Sure.
And so, as an organic farmer, I really appreciate how you're able to grow such fine cannabis organically. Because as a consumer, that's what I seek. You know, that's what I want.
Yep.
Secondly, I wanted to mention, as we move forward in the world, I look forward to seeing how things play out for you. I know you're doing big things constantly. I wonder about, you mentioned cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins, how that's going to play in, Canna Cash and Canna Coins and whatever happens in the future. And I know since you're leading the way and we're right here at the foot of Silicon Valley, we'll probably be asking you for an update in a couple weeks, see how things are going.
Cool.
So these are going to harvest in about 2-3 weeks?
Yep.
Well, maybe we'll come back and check on you then and see what's going on.
Sounds great.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you
Thanks for your
time.
hospitality.
Absolutely.
Great work. James, Ed, see you soon.
Event that is transformational, but is not sustainable.
Ebullience.
Ebullience. Isn't it pronounced ebullience?
We're going to find out on the show.
See you later. Bye, Justin. That was
guys.
amazing.
Wow.
Fantastic again. Awesome.
Wow.
Fantastic. We are so blessed. Anyways, so Ed and I are still having this little fierce argument over here about ebullience. And Ed has put forth a theory that what you see might not necessarily be what you go and get. And tell us, Ed, what are you saying there? What is it that you're saying?
About the marijuana space.
Yeah, well, so tell you what, I'll put up a chart. You tell me what you're...
Yeah.
I'll put up the indexes. I'm going to put up the indexes, not the technical chart, because we want to hear this in the context of the chart. So you're saying that this is not necessarily sustainable. Is that what you're saying?
Look, it's had a quantum move already. Like this move here. This move here. If you look at where it was to where it is, this is like this move. Right? That move is similar to that move. So
yeah.
And then we had distribute. You know.
Okay. Well, I draw your attention to the far left spike in the stock.
Right.
That's January 9th. That was the day that Constellation Brands announced a investment in Canopy Growth at a 37% premium to the closing price over the last few sessions for 10% of the company. So look,
is this just the 1 day trading here today?
This is just up there, yes.
No, like what?
No, this is the 1 year look.
Okay.
So that spike there was catalyzed by a fundamental transformational event. A large cap New York Stock Exchange listed company had stepped in to our little cannabis market and legitimized it by buying 10% of Canopy Growth at a severe premium to the market. So then, as now, the stock took off on a northward trajectory and essentially doubled in value.
From where to where?
Well, the price is not visible. It's showing volume where it should be showing price.
This? What's MLCCC?
That's the Midas letter Cannabis, Canadian Cannabis Index.
Is that what we're looking at right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, just as now, I'm saying that you're going to get this thing here, where the you get this big ebullient lift, transformational, and then it sells off because everybody takes all that profit off the table. People who entered over here are going to be selling the stock.
When you say over here, I don't know where over here is.
See how the things are highlighted?
Where?
You don't see how the green bars are highlighted on the left side there? See when I move it? It highlights the green bar.
Okay. No, I did not see that. So that's subtle.
Yes. So those green bars, it goes up here, and then it sells off because everybody who came in back here is now making money up here. And so they sell it and take the money off the table. and then you get a secondary lift, a bounce, and the same thing happens again. But then the market starts to drift because the catalysts die off, and this whole ebullience, this broad market ebullience, sort of peters out into, you know, a general accumulation phase. So my point is that these big catalytic fundamental developments bring in a whole nation of traders who are not investors, they're traders. So they're trading hot stocks, it's hot money, they're in, they're out, they're gone. And then these accumulation phases, these are big funds accumulating. They're looking for this, you know, they accumulate in a disciplined fashion.
Yeah, you know what well,
you're going to fight me on that, right?
Yeah, you know what? This is a
No, but that's why you're saying. Isn't that why you're saying that you don't see that this could be market conviction punching through to $49? You're saying it could be a false hit. So what are you basing that on? If not that,
well, we're right near the highs here. We're slightly ahead, or you know,
well, we touched a new all-time high today. At
sure, but we did back there too.
No, I'm saying that's where we are today.
Yeah,
that's where we touched a new high, $49. Back there, we touched a new high of $47.
Right.
So we're at 49.
Right.
So it's a new high.
It's a new high, but this also is a new high, right here. But you know what? Let's put the chart of wheat up, because this is just this is a
proxy.
Yeah, this is, you know,
all right.
No one can buy that index.
Okay, tell you what, let's go pull up the technical analysis on weed again. Oh, and there's XRO, which we will have to come back to, and we will come back to XRO.
XRO,
I'm sure anybody who bought it
okay,
alongside us is wondering. Okay, so there's the chart on.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, what was the high? So look at
we. So this high right here, 42.
No, that's not 40. It wasn't 42.
44, sorry, 44. On this day, the high was 44.
Okay.
The next day, the high was 43.
98.
Now we go over here.
Yeah.
The new high is 48.
Yeah.
48.
No. The next day, it opened and then dropped dramatically.
Yeah, but it still had a high.
Yeah, I know, but so if you're arguing that the high today is relevant, why wasn't it relevant here?
No, it was.
It wasn't relevant here because if you would have went in here, you'd have got your ass handed to you.
Well, but
because then it dropped from 48 down to 32 in that run. Right. So how do we know that that's not the same? We're not setting up for that.
That's what your point is?
Well, I'm just alerting everyone to know that it looked like it was going to go through there, and it didn't. Okay,
so you remember what this catalyst was? This was a fundamental catalytic event as well. Do you remember what that was on June 29th?
Not really.
Or sorry, June 21st was the day that Bill C-45 received royal assent in the Senate.
Right.
And that's the day, shortly thereafter, that we got the October 17 time frame. So again, but that was not really a major transformational catalytic event. Everybody knew that was coming.
If it wasn't major, why would it set a new high?
Well, because it was not insignificant, but it wasn't major because it was already known. Everybody knew that the Senate was going to give it royal assent.
Right.
And so this was just a opportunistic trading opportunity for the traders, not the investors.
Sure.
The investors were busily accumulating, and as these ebullient phases always do, they go up and they fall back as the traders come and go. And it resumes its upward accumulative phase that we can see right across here. That's my theory.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
You know what? Listen, all I'm suggesting is that we're now at the upper limit, within $1 of the highs that we set when the bill got passed, and I want to see confirmation. Like tomorrow, for instance, if we gave back what we gained today, I would say that's not constructive.
Okay, so then it was just a trader's rally.
You know what? It was a rally. It was a very tradable rally from $32 to $49. Is a monster move.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much is left in this trade.
Well, my personal opinion is that this thing's going to blow through 50, and it's not going to slow down until it gets into way higher territory. That's my personal impression.
All right.
Just because I think that now, I mean, what has happened here? an NYSE listed company has taken over the first Canadian major.
Right,
and,
right.
You know, it's now essentially a it's a subsidiary of
you know what?
It is.
You could well be right. I'm just, you know.
But I think that's going to catalyze, and you know where you're going to see confirmation of the actual transformation that has happened here?
Right.
It's going to be in the 8Ks of the companies in the United States that are now buying this stuff and have to disclose when they become better than 5% shareholder. So when you see some of those names, and you're not going to see it necessarily in Canopy or Constellation, you're going to see it in Tilray. Because Tilray IPO'd on
Tilray had a monster move today.
Well, exactly. So Tilray is now kind of the bellwether for where the major investors are, in my view, in the United States, where they're sitting. So that's why I think this looks to me like major U.S. investment, and I don't think it's going to slow down. You know, I think you're going to go back here and you're going to get a little bit of this blow off because all the traders who are opportunistic are going to go on to, you know, fresher, frothier territory. But the accumulation phase will remain, and this is what is market conviction. This accumulation phase over several months that takes it to new highs.
You know, I'm sure you get a technical guy on here and they could say, that's not accumulation, that's distribution. Just saying.
Okay, well,
I'm just, look.
Somebody's distributing it, that means somebody's accumulating it.
Right. Yeah, but the question is, what group's the smart group?
Well,
they're not going to both be right. The accumulators or the distributors, right?
Well, they can't. They are both right at varying times in the timeline.
Right.
And that's a philosophical discussion.
Anyway, you know what? Look. This is. You know, the sector was extremely oversold a week ago.
Yeah.
And we've had a major rally because of Constellation putting up $5 billion.
How do you like my new shades?
Edgy.
How do you like my new shirt?
I like it.
I'm gonna talk about this shirt for 1 second because this is a shirt,
cactus shirt,
by a Canadian designer who runs a label called 18 Waits, W-A-I-T-S. The Waits is a reference to Tom Waits, apparently, and apparently 18 is the designer's favorite number. I can't remember the designer's name, but I just want to shout out to the designer that this was a very reasonably priced shirt, probably one of the best made shirts I've bought all year, and it's a Canadian design. And they have a website, 18weights.com, so if you like this shirt, you should see the other ones they got. They're fantastic. Little shout out for them. Anyways, back to the show now.
Okay.
So what are we doing here? I mean, if you're a big capital pool fund investor, I wouldn't be buying now. I'd be waiting for it to back off when the traders leave.
Right.
What's the next catalytic fundamental that's going to happen that we know of? October 17th. We know October 17th is coming.
You can buy online.
Anybody can buy stock. You don't know buy weed. You no longer need a prescription. So that's the next fundamental. And you can bet dollars to donuts. There's going to be a catalytic hump day that day that's going to bring in all the traders and opportunistic scalpers who are going to be playing that frothy market. And you get the same thing, another spike, and then they'll all bugger off to frothier grounds, and the accumulation or the distribution, however you want to term it,
right,
is going to continue.
You know, if it closes appreciably above these levels on good volume, the volume's obviously there. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's going to double from here. It's a possibility.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to our old.
But some of them obviously aren't participating, are they?
Who?
Like in the marijuana space, like the marijuana.
No, they all are.
But not the small one, not the small companies.
Well, I beg to differ.
Okay.
We go back to the, let's go back to the indexes here. Look at that.
Yeah.
There's all, did you see that guitar go by? Look at small caps up 4.4%. Venture cannabis stocks up 5.9%.
Right.
CSE stocks up 3.7%.
3.7. And the CSE ones were the ones that delivered the best returns, right?
Well, all of these indexes were started, these three on this column were started at 100 as of January 1st, 2015.
Right.
So this Midas letter small cap has returned 8.7 times capital. Midas letter Canadian venture cap, all companies listed on the venture, has returned 7.1 times capital. But the CSE has returned 15.8 times capital, or actually call it 16 times capital if you round it all up.
And yet, when the large ones are really flying, the smallest one, this last one, has moved the least.
It's moved the least, but it's still moved up. Unlike other days, you'll see days.
Put up the count. What are the companies in that index?
All right, there's a lot of them. So this is weighted. This is showing by market cap. But let's look at the changes. So here's the ones that didn't participate. And a lot of these companies...
Look, Hampton's, well, that's an example. That's a company we're close to. But look at...
So a lot
there's a number of them that... Ianthus is down.
Ianthus is down. Exactly. So this is, you know, this is what happens. When the big guys are running, people sell the little ones to try to catch the big rally.
Well, I think the point I want to make here is that the money seems to be the right. You know, if companies are in investors' sights with their rifle, they're looking at the bigger names right now. That's what I sense.
Okay. Now, look at, here's some of the tiny companies, up 40%. Well, it was 11 cents, so that's no big.
That's not a...
Aviana Health, we don't know anything about them, up 17 cents. That's a bit of a move. Let's go take a look at this little chart. What are these new guys? Aviana, I've not heard of them. Have you, Ed?
No.
Okay, so it's blown off from its, well, it seems to have been around for a while. Let's see what the news is. Creates advisory committee with industry leader and provides update on, that's back in July. So this thing's trading on inside knowledge because there's no news to justify this movement, which is interesting, up 17 cents. So on 22,000 shares though. So it's traded lightly. Somebody knows something that we're not hearing about, and that's interesting. But
yeah, well, that kind of volume doesn't really suggest that there's a, you know, maybe it's just a thin stock. You know, you can't really.
Yeah. Cannabis Technologies up 30 cents. Up 17.4 cents. That's the roadside breathalyzer. It's another one of Cal Malley's deals.
Right.
Nutritional High, that's David Posner and Company. That thing started life as a 7-center.
Right.
Way back in the day. Anthony Durkach from Huge had a lot to do with that. I think he raised the 7-cent round. Matica Enterprises, former mining company, now in the cannabis space. Alliance Growers, don't know them. Empower Clinics, sounds like a clinic deal. Future Farm. Now we've never heard from Future Farm Technologies. Let's go take a look at that.
Future Farm sounds like a takeoff on Westworld.
Ooh, except for this little bit down here. This is the rising tide lifting all the boats. 50% interest in CPG Design Consulting, ready to apply for a dealer license in Canada. See, there's a lot of these little deals that might yet become quite the winners. And again, it's going to be a case of separating wheat from chaff.
But the volumes in the smaller ones have not mirrored these volumes.
No. No. Well, that's the volume in the small cap space. Liberty Health. Oh, Liberty Leaf. Liberty Leaf. Don't know anything about Liberty Leaf. Haiku Brands. I was actually at a Tokyo smoke store on the weekend.
Really? Mm-hmm. Tokyo Smoke.
Yeah.
I think there was a company that was going to do a deal with them, right? And then...
Well, WeedMD had a deal.
WeedMD, yeah.
Haiku was going to buy WeedMD, and then Canopy swooped in and bought Haiku and canceled the WeedMD deal. WeedMD got a $10 million break fee in the process, so there were no tears spilt over that.
And WeedMD, just so I think got down to about $1.25, $1.30, and I see today it was $1.80 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big move.
Yeah, everything's moving up on this. You know, pretty much everything is moving up on this big Constellation deal. Look, everything is green.
Yeah,
it's not that easy being green. So, and then you get down to these ones. Suniva. Now this was an interesting story. It had a rally last week on no news. Promptly is starting to sell off, but it rallied from down here at 510 all the way up to $7. And now it's backing off. Well, that's what happens when there's no news.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the companies we've been following in case any of our audience has been participating alongside us. We're going to look at XRO, which is the X-Row Technologies.
Right. I reached out to the CEO on Friday and have not talked to him since. Maybe he had a long weekend, but I'm going to
put the volume on here because that's kind of important. Lower indicator, volume. There we go. So there's us buying it in the market last week, and here it is sort of drifting sideways as we pause. And why are we pausing in our accumulation of this, Ed? I can tell you why I am as a fundamentalist. Why are you pausing in your accumulation as a technicalist?
I've ran out of money.
that's more of a fundamental development, isn't it?
Well,
I ran out of money.
Look. Stock goes from 25 cents to over 50 on that spike. The RSI goes up dramatically.
Yeah. So
again.
RSI was at 82 over here.
Yeah.
And as you have said time and again, the RSI over 80 indicates a correction is imminent, and look what happens.
Yeah.
It corrects.
Yeah.
So as a fundamental accumulator, I'm looking at that and saying, oh, okay, well, so there's not a lot of momentum left in the stock. There's no news that we know of.
There's no news we know of, but I understand there should be some news very soon. Well, I don't know what the news is.
Is like the timeline of the planet. An ice age. Like very soon is in like
in a billion years. A billion years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it has corrected nicely, and it had a good run, so that's okay. But if you look here. Well, we'll look here, for instance. We had a little bit of move, but nothing like the move we have here.
Right.
And with much better volume. A good several days of 200, 300, 400,000 shares.
Yeah.
200, 300. Yeah. So, well, I got to talk to Mark. And we got to get him on the show, as we said we would. But he's there's something I think that he wants to get in order first.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think so.
Okay. That's fraught with subtle
innuendo.
Yeah. Okay. So XRO. What else did we follow last week? Now I got to point out, I've got to talk about ABN here because it's been trading strongly, and this is another one in the Golden Triangle, 50 kilometers away from Golden Ridge, and I participated in a private placement at 30 cents, and they've got a lot more drill holes coming out. So the news is, like, look at that, talk about conviction here. Like that's conviction, solid buying, no sell-off, no big blow-off. Those weren't traders; those were buyers. I mean, it did trade in a range from.
So they came out with a hole, right? They came out with a hole. The stock gapped for 28, and it sort of bottomed there, and it moved up to There you go. So
there you have it.
There you have it.
There it is. What do you know? What can we say?
Right.
Now, what else we got
to talk about?
SIC. There's a good point. Let's talk about SIC.
That got to 58. Look at.
Now this has been selling off.
Yeah.
There was a
rumor?
Well, there was a post out there from a company called Market Exclusive that had put a $19 price target on Sokoman iron. And what they'd done is they had mistaken Sokoman iron for NASDAQ SIC, which is some other company that's obviously got a much bigger market cap, and they had a recommendation out. So if you saw that, there has been no, I'm just adjusting your microphone here, it's falling over, it's looking drunk. If you saw that, that was a mistake, and there's no $19 price target on Sokoman gold or Sokoman iron, because it's just not.
At least not yet.
Well, no, it's not until a lot more.
But look at that volume there. That's serious volume.
Yeah.
Do we know anything more there?
All we know is that there's more holes going to be announced next week.
Okay.
There's more holes at the lab.
Golden's going to announce some holes.
Yeah, next week's going to be interesting. We've got Golden. We've got Triumph Gold coming out with some holes.
Right.
We've got Sokoman Gold. We've got Aben Resources coming out with holes. Sable Resources might have some more holes. Now, there's one we haven't been following.
SAE, yeah.
SAE, Tommy Obradovich's deal, which, you know, look at that. It's looking a little frothy in there.
A little bit, but never got overbought. Never really got overbought.
No, there's a little volume back in here. Oh, we can't really see that volume.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to
Interesting.
pull this up. Move it.
Well, I got to keep my eye on the price of gold, the actual commodity markets, because gold had a big day today, up about $13.
Yeah.
On the futures market. Yeah, but
So is it over 1,200 again?
it's very close. I think 1196, 1197.
If you ask me, I think that was the point of capitulation. 1187 gold I saw. And the capitulation not being so much that there's fundamental reasons for it to capitulate, as it is that it's time for all those manipulating bastards in the futures market to take some money off the table and go long again, as they are wont to do.
Yeah. It got down to 1170. Geez, it looks like it got down to about 1170 interday, back on the 16th of August or something like that. I'm talking about bullion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But when you start to see these accumulate, or you see these patterns where there's a bit of froth in the gold junior market, what does that mean generally? Usually means there's a bit of a rally in store for us.
you know, it wasn't long ago we'd had gold moving, and the juniors weren't even reacting. Now gold's been hammered, and the juniors are starting to get active, which, you know, maybe it's because it's drilling season. It could be a host of things, but yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see action.
So in Canada right now, we have a cannabis market and we have a discovery market in the gold drilling, at gold and copper drilling.
Yeah.
Which is great. Even our old pal Steve Dunn at Crown Mining saw a bit of life blown into his stock today. I mean a very little bit, but up to 13 cents.
Wow.
You know what? That's a 30% lift from where it closed on Friday.
Yeah, but you know, we don't want to get too excited about it because there was only a small amount of trading, but
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you put, it's going to, the copper price was $2.57. I was like, are you kidding me? Here we are.
From 329 to 257 in 2 months effect, or 9 weeks or 10 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a major haircut.
Yeah. We have some...
Speaking of haircut, I'm going to be getting a haircut soon.
Really?
Well.
Where? No, I mean, I know on your head, but yeah, where? I mean, in Toronto?
Well, I have a friend who's got a bowl and he's got some clippers.
What do you need a bowl for?
A bowl? I went over for a bowl.
A bowl of Cheerios?
No. A bowlful.
Wow.
Soulful.
Soulful
Aretha Franklin passed.
Yeah.
Queen of Soul.
Queen of Soul. You know what we're going to do right now, Ed, is we're going to look at the market movers because we promised ourselves we would do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good, okay, so here we go.
Oh, who's at the top of the list there?
No, don't say it's
Golden Ridge closed at 40 cents.
39 and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I would have liked to see a little better close, but...
Boy.
And you know what, I think a lot of day traders who bought it today, if they don't see any action, they'll sell it by the close, and that could put a little pressure at the close, which I think
423, the close is come and gone. So that is the closing price, down 5 cents.
No, but I mean, it was starting to look better. But look, hour to hour, day to day, Sokoman's up there. You know, Oxley, there's Oxley, which is the former cannabis Sweden, up a dime.
Yeah.
13%. That's a good move. I'm sure there's a big short position there, and
Namaste, up 7 cents, $1.47. So the big traders are uniformly, oh look, Planet Ventures Inc. Well, that's not us. District Copper, 9 cents. That's the one the Hirschberg posse was buying last week, DCOP. They talked it up to 11 and now they're knocking it back down to 9.
And big volume, it looks like. Yeah, the first digit of the volume line is right on that crease in the screen, so it's making me guess. I'm getting jumpy.
Oh, well, you should look over here because you're the only one who sees that one.
Yeah. Yeah, Golden Ridge. Yeah, but that's not. See, that's only the venture volume. It doesn't show you the volume on all the exchanges.
That's true.
And the venture and just to put it in perspective, the volume on the venture was 7 million and change, and the volume on Stockwatch, Golden Ridge, over 10 million. So another 50%.
Let's say hello to some of our regular viewers. Victor Tavoyka, hello. It isn't distribution phase, Victor says. Huh. Okay.
Okay. That's, you know what?
Rob Armstrong, thumbs up. Hello, Rob Armstrong. Stefan Mueller, Aurora, please. What do we have to say about Aurora today? We already talked about Aurora, didn't we? Yes, we did. We looked at, there's Carl. Hello, Carl. Carl's going to be doing his thing this week. We're going to have the guys from Follow the Money Group going to do a 2-hour show this week. What? Yes, another group of young, opportunistic individuals are going to explain what they're buying and why they're buying it. And we like them because they've been successful and they are articulate and make good sense, I would say. Let's go over to our YouTube channel, and who have we got over there? Oh, there we are. Oh, there I am talking to myself. Great. Blah. Which cannabis stocks are the most interesting in the market, in the moment on the market, according to Midas letter? Just tuned in. I've been sort of trying to follow the scene for a year now. Which stocks are most interesting? G-Tech is interesting to us. G-Tech is interesting to us. CanTrust, probably the most undervalued play among the incumbents. Aurora is making a great, has basically hit the bottom, turned around, and is now marching straight north. Let's see.
It looks like ACB is the biggest mover in the bigger space in terms of percentage today.
Yep. ACB is the biggest.
About 17% or something like that.
Yep.
That's a big
Blue Modern Picasso, Glen Treef. Question. So if Canopy gets 10,000 kilograms, for instance, would that be in addition to what they would sell themselves in their own stores? What? Okay, gonna have to think about that one. So question. So if Canopy gets 10,000 kilograms from the Ontario store, I'm assuming you're meaning Glen Treef, would that be in addition to what they would sell themselves in their own stores? Okay, well, the recreational market is, recreational product is all that's going to be sold through Ontario, so yes, that would be in addition. It's the recreational market will continue to be different from the medical market. If you're a medical customer, you will continue to have a direct relationship with your supplier through your doctor. But if you're a recreational consumer, you will buy it from the province at one of the provincial outlets, and you will be able to acquire whoever has been given an allocation to sell there. So yes, if Canopy, if the Ontario store agrees to buy 10,000 kilograms, that will be in addition to what they already sell themselves. That is the answer to the question. I hear Livewell is going on the Venture Exchange tomorrow. What you say? Jennifer Grant. Livewell. Livewell's a Canopy Rivers portfolio holding. Canopy Rivers is going to be going public in September, don't forget.
What's the market cap going to be of that company when it starts trading approximately? Do you have any idea?
Canopy Rivers?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you right now.
Yeah.
I did see a PowerPoint, but
it's going to be. It may be. We got to be careful we don't confuse Canopy Rivers with Canopy Growth.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Because you could make a mistake. Somebody could act on it.
And next thing you know,
we're sued.
We're getting scrutinized.
Censored.
Censured.
Like censure.
Censure. Sensationalized. Anyways, can you tell it's Monday? Or just a little bit, what did you do this weekend, Ed?
Oh, I played golf and...
Played golf? Yeah, how'd you do? Did you drink? Did you smoke? Did you do any cannabinoids? Yes to all of the above?
Yes, and yes. Yes.
I had a detox weekend. I rode
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Detox?
Little 30-kilometer bike ride. Yeah. No booze. Well, 1 bottle of wine at lunch, 2 at dinner.
That's not even, that doesn't even count.
Well, it does. It counts as detox.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. We didn't.
Are you on the wagon this week, for instance?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a hiatus from all of the tomfoolery that has characterized my summer. And yeah, we're going out on the road. We're going up to, on Friday this week, we're going to be shooting, the show's going to be coming to you live from Smiths Falls, where we're going to be at Canopy Growth's new Information Discovery Center.
That's going to be fun.
And the next day, Saturday, we're going to be shooting Canopy Growth's Party on the Lawn, where they throw a big bash for all the residents of Smiths Falls.
So what time should I make my way up there?
Thursday.
Thursday?
Thursday.
Are you leaving Thursday?
I'm going up Thursday night.
After the show?
After the show, we're heading right onto the highway, heading up to Ottawa.
Yeah, I guess your vehicle must be full because I never got an invite.
Well, that's a good point.
Cat got your tongue?
Yes,
Okay, I get it. I see what's happening here.
Anyways, don't tell Ed, but there's a big party on the lawn in Smiths Falls.
What? I'm just going to take up my private jet.
Your private jet?
Yeah, Bill, I'll jump on it.
You're going to take your private jet to Smiths
Falls?
Yeah,
I got a private jet. It's about that big.
Yeah, it's a little model,
made out of plastic, yeah.
Anyways, we have a lot of interesting things happening this week. Most of them we can't tell you about, but I can tell you it looks like there's going to be some big moves in some stocks if some of these.
Well, we saw big action today in the marijuana space. And
today was all about cannabis. In fact, I think some people were blowing out some of our favorite mining stocks to buy cannabis.
Well.
Anyway, so if you like the show, you know what to do. Like us, hate us. Like us or hate us. We don't really care. We love you. We love you. That's what we want you to know. And yeah, subscribe. Go visit the Midas Letter website. Sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter, by the way, we are going to start actually revealing our trading activity for the week in the newsletter for free for 1 month. And then the newsletter is going to become a premium product because people are going to make money thanks to us. Well, they already have been. So if you like it, sign up. You can be on Facebook or YouTube. YouTube has the much better picture and sound quality. Facebook is, well, if you're a Facebooker, that's where you can be. You can catch all of these live after the fact on Facebook, soon Twitter. I mean, soon, whatchamacallit, YouTube as well. Anyways, I think I've said enough. Thank you very much for watching today.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.